What's up, guys? Welcome back to a special edition of Football Corner Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Queen, and today it's going to be a special episode because we get our first guest, a guy that I've been in contact with. I've been following him for the past couple of years. He's the guru and the only guy I trust in breaking down film on social media and all of the platforms. The one, the only Guru Films Room. What's up, my
Yes,
guy?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh man, it's an honor, boy. You know I mess with your content. I always love your 60 seconds of information, man. I'm telling you, man. No one in the game be doing that, man. I love it.
Nah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm just a guy who's trying to get his voice out there and about my insights on the NFL, and that's all I can do. So, if I give it to you in 60 seconds, I'm gonna try to.
Oh man, trust me, you get it in, man. I love listening to it, man. Every time I'm like, God damn, how that it's like I could never get that much information in 60 seconds. I don't know how you do it, man. How many takes does it take for you to get like all the information? That shit is crazy.
But it's actually funny because like I work in sports media already, but like I want to be an analyst, like full time on like with a mega corporation, and like I see people do their 1 minute hits, and they talent because mess up all the time. So, if they could do it, I could do it. I gotta show them I can do the stuff they do. Come on.
You right about that, big dog. You right about that.
All right, let's want to get started. Let's go ahead and get started with this. The first topic is the best team from the AFC and NFC. I guess we could start with the AFC. Who is the best team going into Week 7 from the AFC?
I mean, we know it's been the same team, honestly, for the last damn since the Patrick Mahomes Andy Reid marriage. They've always been the best team. You could say any other team, but we know they're a slow starter. And they just get better every week, every month. So until otherwise, no, until somebody else tell me Patrick Mahomes is not the king of the AFC, you know what I'm saying? Yes, you might have your little flavor 15 minute or the 15 minute of fame guy like a Joe Burrow, or you might have your little flavor like a Josh Allen and those guys. Or maybe right now the hottest team might be the Miami Dolphins. That might be a team. But honestly, man, the question should be who's the favorite under except the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'll answer that question a little bit better. I think that's more debatable. But
Okay.
anybody in their right mind, if you know this game, if you know football, if you know sports, you know ain't nobody better right now in the AFC, especially the last few years, than Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But if I want to exclude them, now we're talking about a real debate. We're talking about a real debate because I don't really think there's a dominant team after them. I think a lot of teams have it's in that mix. I love your Jags. I think your Jags is another sleeper.
Like Duval, baby.
I love the Ravens and what they do over there. Or any team, Ravens, Cleveland, basically the whole AFC North. Any one of those teams could make a run for it. All four of those teams, I think they're contenders. Obviously, you got Tua, you got the Bills. So it's really hard for me to say one other than the Chiefs. Everybody else, they're all mixed in together.
Okay, so now the question is, now the follow up, since you could pick the Chiefs, I want to know, do you feel like the Chiefs are as dominant as they were the past 2 years this year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing otherwise that tell me otherwise. It's like there's different type of dominance, you know. Obviously, they had the Tyreek Hill type of dominance. And now they got an offensive lineman type of dominance. And now they have a defensive dominance. So it's like they have so many different venue dominance. As long as you have a Patrick Mahomes. The first few years, it was a Tyreek Hill era that dominance. And then they regrouped after the Super Bowl debacle and got themselves the offensive line. So they became an offensive line dominance. Now they finally got the best defense they ever had in the Patrick Holmes era. So now they're defensively dominant. So yes, I'd still
Hmm.
believe they're dominate, but they just dominate a different aspect of things. And as long as you have Patrick Mahomes offensively, you're always going to be all right. Always going to be all right. But like I said, defensively, this is the best defensive squad they have ever had in the Patrick Mahomes Andy Reid era.
I would agree. So I still think that, just as you said, the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. But there is a team, I think, if their quarterback finally comes to play, and that's in Deshaun Watson, I think the Browns are a team that's better than most people give them credit for, especially since they knocked out the 49ers in week 6 with their just dominant defense. I think the Browns, if they could get their quarterback, Deshaun Watson, to be healthy and play football as if he could. We know he can play what he did back in 2019. I think the Browns could be a sneaky team in going into the playoff picture in the end of the season. So with
Absolutely.
that, what about the best team in the NFC? That one's been up for debate for since of the two undefeated teams have lost.
Absolutely. The NFC is a crapshoot right now, man, because uh they're not. I don't think there's a superior team. I think different team has a different strength that's better than all the different strength that's better than the rest of the teams. But I don't see a dominant team. There's not a Patrick Mahomes in the NFC. So I think it's a usual suspect. If you want to be with as far as a favorite, obviously the 49ers are going to be there in the long haul as they have been in numerous years. The Eagles, obviously, when you have one of the best offense and defense line combination, it's like fried rice, man. It's always going to be good. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're hungry, you order some fried rice.
Yeah,
You know what you're getting. It's always going to be good, man. And obviously, the darlings, you know what I'm saying? One of the most complete team right now is the Detroit Lions. I think Detroit Lions is one of them teams you got to keep an eye on. And obviously, you got the home over the Seahawks. Yeah, they might have lost to Joe Burrow and those guys this past week, but the Seahawks are one of those teams that get better with Pete Carroll every month,
and
man.
Pete
So,
Carroll messed them up in Week 6. I mean, you
man,
kick a field goal, if you kick a field goal earlier, this it's a different story to the results at the end of the game.
you know what? I agree. I don't really in that game. I think the Bengals really did a good job, and as far as putting pressure on the offensive line, and honestly, that's probably a meltdown on the team. I thought DK Metcalf had a bad meltdown as
Hmm.
far as his route, and which caused that one of the pick from Geno Smith, and also the line just didn't protect enough. And I think it was more. You're right. I blame it as more of the coaching and players aspect than Pete. I look at it more about Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator, what he called in that because everything would have made sense, even though I had that touchdown inside the 10-yard line. So
Yeah.
I really didn't like the play calling we did in the red zone because the guys did move the ball in the red zone. They just didn't convert. So, with
Hmm.
all in all, I think NFC wise, obviously the Eagles. I mean, you can't go wrong with the type of dominance, offensive, defensive line. But I do love the Detroit Lions, what they bring to the table, the diversity as far as the offensive skill set, offensive players. Obviously, they have a superior offensive defensive line as well, which nobody really talks about. And obviously the 49ers, we know they're strong offensive defensive line wise. So the only thing that worries me about the 49ers is because it's so physical, they seem to always get some injuries at key players at key certain times year in, year out.
Yeah, definitely. So as of now, if I had to say, I'd pick a team going to Week 7 is the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions is playing complementary football, and even the game they lost against the Seahawks, it was a well fought game, and it had to go to overtime for one of the teams to get a victory. But it's the Detroit Lions way of playing. Like Jared Goff was playing at MVP level. He was cast away from the Rams. I still don't appreciate Sean McVay doing that. He got his ring for Matthew Stafford, so I guess it was justified. But I thought Jared Goff was dealt a bad hand, and he was to blame for the Rams not being as successful as they thought they could have been. And now he goes to a Detroit Lions team that was Matthew Stafford's team, and now he has rebuilt. He has rebuilt that team. And him having good quarterback play. He had good quarterback play last year, but unfortunately, because they lost to the Panthers on that winning streak last year, they were one game away from making the wild card round. I think the Lions have been playing with a chip on their shoulders because they knew they were a playoff team last year, and they're trying to show us this year that they are a playoff team. This team has good defensive line, like you said. I think their linebackers are really, really good. If they get their running backs healthy, like Jared Goff can sling the football, but you always like to have complementary football with having a good running game with Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, and company. Once they get their running backs healthy, I think this team will even be better than what they are now. The only issue I will have for the Detroit Lions is their inexperience in the playoffs. The only person who got experience on that team is Jared Goff, and he's been to a Super Bowl. So Dan Campbell has no playoff coaching experience as a head coach. And all these other pieces around him are very young. I'll say Brown's a young guy, Jameer Gibbs a young guy, even the guys on defense, Ed Hutchinson's a young guy. So I think the only issue that'll be stopping the Detroit Lions is the lack of playoff experience. But if I had to pick a top two team in the NFC, let's go Detroit.
Yeah, I don't really stress it on that playoff experience. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a media rhetoric. You know how I feel. You know my concept. I really don't deal with that type of nonsense rhetoric. It's all about the plays, man. It's all about the guys on the field. Last year, who'd have thought Jalen, if you didn't see the year before, Jalen Hurts was in the same quarterback. We all know Sirianni was not experienced. He never won a Super Bowl, won anything. So all that to me is, you know what I'm saying, is just media manufactured bullshit. As far as, oh, you don't got this experience. Hell, nobody had experience that fucking did it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't gain experience till you do it. So all that experience jargon to me, I don't really subscribe to that. Just the fact, like, hey, Tom Brady didn't have no experience when he won his first Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Majority of guys didn't have experience when they won the Super Bowl. So that experience to me, I think is overstated. I think it's a style of play. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really worried about Dan Campbell because we saw Nick Sirianni went to the damn Super Bowl against Andy Reid and balled out. So I don't think there's a major difference as far as, oh, the coaching didn't do that. I think it's a style of play because the most experienced coaches last year was Shanahan, Pete Carroll, and those guys, and they all lost to non-experienced coaches. So I think the style of play played a key role. And I think Detroit's style of play definitely carries home or away, as we saw what they did against the Chiefs. You know what I mean? So I just focus more on the style of play and the attitude of the team. And I think Detroit, because in the playoff time, it's the attitude of your team. Yeah. And I think Detroit got the attitude and the players to go with it.
So, and you talked about attitude. So if you're Dan Campbell and you have this team that's very young, but they're playing really good football, what do you tell them coming down? Because we already reached close to the halfway point in the season. What do you tell them going to the second half of the season for them to keep mounting these victories against teams that will be more difficult down the stretch?
I think it's just like taking a book from Deion Sanders of Colorado. I think it's a belief. I think there's nothing more you can tell them. I think those guys already believe it. They believed it from last year. This is coming from last year. This is a continuation. Once you believe, it's like having faith, man. Once you have faith on the Almighty or whichever, and you believe, there's nothing you fear. There's absolutely nothing you fear. And that's what you can see is happening with the Detroit Lions. They believe this is not the same old Detroit. There is no fear. They already have that confidence. They went to Arrowhead, Super Bowl ring night, and did what they did. That's what they did. They went into Green Bay, even though there's no Aaron Rodgers, but they still did what they did. Now it's like, 3-4 straight games against Green Bay. They went on the road. They went at home. It's the belief system. I don't think Campbell already got to do much. What people like to say, he already cultivated the culture. He already cultivated that culture. I think those guys know what they're capable of. And at the end of the day, they got experience. Yeah, they're young at certain players, but they're very experienced at key position. They experienced at quarterback, which is very vital. You know what I'm saying? The offensive line unit have been together for 3 to 4 years. They're very from Ragnar to Purnell Sue. So they're not no rookies. I'm gonna say Browns, you know what I'm saying? Like they're very, very, very well put together, being on the same team, same offensive system, same defensive system. The addition of this offseason with Sutton, the corners, straighten that up. Like I don't really think at this team as a young team, they might be young as far as winning together, but overall, those guys they're not no rookies making plays now. There's no rookies on the team that's making plays. David Montgomery's his 5th year? He's been in the league. So altogether, yes, because they're young for the media, for us to see them. But as a Detroit guy, I've been following this team for years, and they're put together. I don't think they're youthful. They're youthful to the media, but those guys been playing ball in Detroit for 2 to 3 years.
That's good stuff. All right, let's transition into the next subject, and that will be coaching in the NFL. So there's a lot of things that happen with multiple teams, like Bill Belichick, the things that happen with Kyle Shanahan. Now he's dealing with star players getting injured. What do you think about the coaching happening around the NFL today, and who's doing the best coaching job and who's doing the worst coaching job?
Oh man, this is like saying, what's your favorite movie or your favorite artist? You know, you got multiple. I just can't have one, man. It's like, I like really looking at a lot of the coordinators, man. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the head coaches, there's a few of them that does that call plays and do their thing. Obviously, you got the Andy Reid when it comes to the offensive play calling style. Andy Reid is one of the best as far as play design. You know what I'm saying? I really like Ben Johnson as well in Detroit. I love his play calling style. Yeah, we talk about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's really a figurehead. Ben Johnson is a designer of the plays. So, Dan Campbell handles as far as plug situation, but I love Ben Johnson, what he does as far as his play, manipulation, and innovation. I love what he does over there. He's going to be a future head coach. Obviously, we know that Shanahan's amazing. I'm one of the best guys as far as a great run play designer I really love, man, is Arthur Smith. Man, you watch the Atlanta Falcons, man, as far as the run game, one of the few teams that still use a 13 personnel, which is basically 3 tight ends and 1 back, 12 personnel, use base personnel as far as manipulating passing plays and running plays. Arthur Smith is a fucking man when it comes to that. Obviously Sean McVay, amazing what he's doing with the Rams, man, as far as their play setup.
It's a bunch of young guys on defense and that defensive line, along with Aaron Donald too.
Oh yeah, man. As far as the defensive wise, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of good coaching out there, man. Obviously, you see some of the mishaps as far as Belichick and even Sean Payton, what he did. But all in all, man, I think, great coaches, you see the results. Sean McDermott is one of those guys too that's amazing. And right now, to be honest with you, one of the best play designer in football, in my opinion, right now, behind Andy, because Andy's always number one, is Mike McDaniels, man.
Woo! Talk about it.
I'm telling you, this shit, man. I've been watching some of his films, man. The things this guy is doing, man, it's just little quirks. It's little things when football 101 that he makes, because football is it's such a rhythmic sport. You know what I'm saying? It's an automatic sport. So you have design and you got keys and you got reads. It's something you do since Pee Wee football. You read alignment block down. It's going to be a running play. There's certain things But what he does is he offset that what you're ingrading. So he basically manipulates your mind. It makes you see what you're programmed to see and yet do something totally different that your mind is like, for a split second, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And that's why you see the offense is so high powered as far as motioning and moving guys in space. So I love watching Mike McDaniels and what he's doing as far as play development over there. So honestly, I think the NFL is in a good situation. But if I want to convert that to worst coach, I will say we do have some terrible coaches too.
Talk about them.
Obviously, the buddy over there in the Chicago Bears, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Eberflus, man.
I don't know what Eberflus is doing. And one of my nemesis, your boy over there in the Chargers, always been my nemesis.
Brandon Staley. I feel like we both talked about him and the great lengths of videos about his bad coaching.
Yeah, Brandon Staley, he's always up there as one of the worst coaches. And my mind, Ron Rivera. I think Ron Rivera is another old dinosaur that should not be coaching in the NFL no more. His days are numbered. I think he's a horrible coach. Ron Rivera is definitely one of the worst coaches in the league, man. As far as like terrible coaches, those are the guys I really popped in my head. Ron Rivera, Brian from the Chargers coach, the
Brandon
Bears coach. Yeah, so those are really the beginning of the worst coaches.
So let me ask you this, because it's a common denominator of the 3 coaches you named. They're all defensive-minded head coaches. They have defensive backgrounds. They were former defensive coordinators in the NFL. Do you think being a defensive-minded head coach affects their coaching in general?
No, man. It's just, I hear that rhetoric too. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm a defensive guy, so I'm biased, man. So I'm not trying to hear that, man. I hear that all the time. And if you don't look at it, like Joe, what you said, the Chiefs right now are probably the best team in the NFL, right? And because of what? Their defense. You know what I'm saying? Because the improvement of the defense. Spagnuolo, what he's doing over there for the last few years. The Chiefs win Super Bowl because they make defensive plays at the right time. So I don't subscribe to that, man. Pete Carroll is a defensive coach, and you see the Seahawks are always contending. So I don't really, the Eagles performed well last year because what? The defensive line. It was a defense. That's why it's like Shane Steichen right now. I mean, not Shane Steichen, but the defense coach is
with the Cardinals. Yeah,
he's the Cardinals. So I don't want to hear that rhetoric. Oh, it's a defensive coach, is this, that. Sean McDermott is a defensive coach, and the Bills are always a contender. Yeah. So I really don't see that. I don't.
So is Mike Tomlin.
Exactly. So I don't subscribe to that, to be honest with you guys, man. I believe in the old adage: offense wins games, offense wins playoff, defense wins Super Bowls.
There you go. So last thing before I give you my opinion, what about Bill Belichick? Do you think Bill Belichick is aging before our eyes as a head coach and his coaching ways, or like from 20 years ago?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's like, the thing about Belichick is when you have Brady and he has some of the smartest staff behind him, because it's all about the staff. You know, just like football is a team sports, is coaching wise a staff situation. You know, he had one of the smartest staff, and they were never the most athletic team ever in their
Yeah.
dominance. They were always the most smartest team. You know what I'm saying? But the rules have changed. Things have changed now, and he's still keeping that same tradition, which just it don't work no more. You know what I'm saying? Speed kills, and you can see what Mike McDaniels is doing over there now. Innovation, man. You know what I'm saying? Now we're in a generation of hybrids. You know, those gas guzzlers are leaving. I need a hybrid vehicle. So if you're still driving those damn, you know what I'm saying, Suburbans, you know what I'm saying, the Hummers, you think you're still on that road? Yeah, the times have changed, bro. You know what I'm saying? Right now it's the Teslas. You know what I'm saying? It's a new engine on the road right now, which is, you know what I'm saying, the hybrids, which is electric cars. So I think that's a transition Bill Belichick has failed to make. And I thought a guy like Pete Carroll has done an outstanding job in doing that transition. You can see the Seahawks offense. So I just think Bill Belichick is a stickler for being a historian, and he's stuck with the gas guzzlers. And right now we're moved on to electronic cars.
Yeah. I feel like all that is true. And plus, with the Pete Carroll's point, what you were talking about, how he has evolved. He'd been to the playoffs before Russell Wilson, with Russell Wilson, and after Russell Wilson. I feel like that's something that people are not talking about enough, about how Pete Carroll, no matter what has happened, he has always managed to rally his team to be able to be a contender for the Super Bowl. But so let's start with the good coaches. I think coaches that are doing an outstanding job. And the first coach is Robert Saleh, a team that was supposed to be dead in the water from week one because Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. I thought that keep defending Zach Wilson, even though he probably in his mind, he don't think Zach Wilson is a franchise quarterback, but he knows he has to uplift his quarterback in order to get the best out of him. And I think we saw a turning point when Zach Wilson played the Chiefs. Even though they lost that game, I thought Zach Wilson played way better than he has played in the past. And Robert Saleh has been feeding into that. And even that has made the team and the defense believe. And this is why they were able to go beat the Eagles, the team that was 5-0 and one of the favorites in the NFC and in the NFL. I think Robert Saleh, as his coaching with the Jets, they're 3-3, nothing to rave about. But despite what they have gone through, losing their Super Bowl contending quarterback, I think Robert Saleh is doing a phenomenal job right now. Also, the next guy I want to, it's the offensive coordinator, and it's for your Commanders. Eric Bieniemy, can you give him some praise about how he has gotten almost the best out of Sam Howell, and that offense looks a little more explosive, and y'all be scoring more points? Now, I think Ron Rivera is kind of holding him back with coaching decisions, but from an offensive standpoint, I think even in the Bears game on Thursday night, y'all offense didn't look as like y'all wanted it to be, but soon y'all came out in the second half, 2 straight drives of y'all scoring touchdowns. Now, it takes a Ron Rivera defense to be able to stop offenses so you can mount a comeback. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But so far, Eric Bieniemy, and I just saw him play the Falcons in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they were able to capitalize, even though the Falcons were moving the ball down the field and being aggressive and getting in the red zone multiple times. I thought they played within their system, and they took what the defense gave them, and they were able to score a lot of points, and Sam Howell had a pretty effective day. And another coach, Arthur Smith. I like Arthur Smith. And to your point, I think he uses multiple formations and plays in order to get the running backs and be able to have a strong running game because he got Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson in the backfield. But my issue with Arthur Smith is the emotions on the sideline. I never see a coach so emotional after a quarterback made a mistake. Come on. You can't do that. Desmond Ridder is a young guy. He hasn't even played 17 games as a young QB. And you are showing all your emotions, what you're feeling at the time on the sideline, and your players are reacting the way you react. And I feel like in the Falcons facility, players are going against Desmond Ridder because he is not playing up to par immediately. I still think Desmond Ridder, you should treat him like a rookie. He's going through growing pains. I've seen some good, I've seen some bad, but your coach needs to keep his composure when his quarterback is doing something bad.
Yes, absolutely, man. Honestly, I'm not a Ridder guy. Mm-hmm. I'm not a Desmond Ridder guy. I came in the season, and the more films I watch, because I watch him very closely because I'm really watching him and Sam Powell. I mean, Sam Powell, whatever, Sam Howell, because I thought they were both in the same situation and both had an opportunity to really be the guy of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I was leaning towards him because of Arthur Smith than I was with Sam Howell. But now with what I see Eric Bieniemy's doing, Sam Howell look way more polished, way more advanced as far as his ability than Desmond Ridder. I think Desmond Ridder is it's just like a Brock Purdy. Like Kyle Shanahan and those guys do a great job with play design that makes it easy for those guys because of the design. And I think Arthur Smith is one of the best play designer. And Desmond Ridder just is not. If the play is not designed perfectly, he's not really going to enhance the situation. As far as off-script situations, you can see every time things go off-script, that's when he looks horrible. But when you go on-script, because everything is working as the design, that's when you see. But to be a great quarterback in this league, or even a franchise quarterback, defensive adjust too. You're going to go off-script. Offense, the quarterback, the coaching staff could only create so much. Those guys get paid too, so you have to win the off-script. In a skill position, we call that 50-50 balls. You know what I'm saying? Either the receiver or the DB, somebody got to win some off-script 50-50 situation because those defensive players get paid, they go adjust just like offense adjust. So there's going to be a certain amount of time, maybe 3 to 5% in games where there's no script, whereas who's a better player, me or you? Or who's a better decision makers, me or you? And right now, I really don't see that in Desmond Ridder. He loses almost all the time in off-script situations.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I live around because I live in Atlanta. I hear a lot of Falcons fans voicing their opinion about how they do not believe in Desmond Ridder, and you can tell the community's ready for a change. But he is the guy for now, so you gotta believe your guy, and you're still in the thick of things.
For at least this whole season, because I got him as my QB2 in my fantasy, and I'm doing well right now.
There you go. All right, let's transition to our last topic of the day, and that's who's the best quarterback through 6 weeks of the NFL? Guru?
Honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all, man. And this is strictly from the film, dude, because that's all I do, man. I watch the games on silent. I watch all the all 22s. That's how I watch. You know my content.
Yeah.
And honestly, bro, the best quarterback this season so far is Jared Goff.
Nice.
Like, I'm not even gonna sit down and talk about his accuracy, his ball placement. I'm sitting here watching the game because I'm actually doing. You mentioned the linebacker, so I'm doing a breakdown on Alex Anzalone, who's killing it this year, killing it, right? And then I'm just keeping watching. I'm watching the film, so I don't skip the offense. So I just sit there, just eat my chips, just watching the offense, and I'm just watching Jared Goff, just I even did a little breakdown, the way he's just manipulating safeties. I'm just sitting back yo, this is fucking amazing, brother. This shit, Jared Goff right now is playing at such a high level, bro. He's playing the quarterback game. It's just, I can't even find the words to describe it. It's just beautiful poetry. You know what I'm saying? They do a quick 3-step drop. Boom, but he don't even pack. Release the ball. And I'm throwing receivers open. That one beautiful pass he threw to J-Mo, man. I don't know if you've seen the highlight.
Jameis Wilson. I know. I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Guru, I watch every game.
You better have that YouTube fucking channel, man. That YouTube TV, brother.
There you go.
But, yeah, man, that was a magnificent play. If you guys see that from the whole aspect, the all 22s, man, how he just manipulated his safeties, and it was just beautiful, man. So, yeah, man, Jared Goff, to me, from week 6, he's been the best quarterback. Yes, I'm saying it. The best quarterback in the entire NFL.
I don't think people talk about Jared Goff enough. One more question about Jared Goff, though. Do you think Sean McVay and the Rams gave up on him too early?
No, I think it's how this it's like a girl, man. We all have a different type of girls we like. Some people like girls with titties, some people like girls with a fat ass, some people like girls with a nice, beautiful face. So it's your preference. You know what I'm saying? Sean McVay, I would say with a girl with a big booty because he wanted a strong arm quarterback. That's what he wanted in his life. So that's what he's preferred. You know what I'm saying? The Shanahans, they don't really care. Even with the Kirk Cousins, they want a quarterback who's smart, basically a pretty face, who's smart, can make decisions like Jimmy G. They like decision makers, smart quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on your liking. And Dan Campbell, he fits Dan Campbell perfect style right there because somebody with temperament. Basically, he was married to a guy, a quarterback that could cook, that could clean. You don't got to be the prettiest. You know what I'm saying? The house is always tidy. You know what I'm saying? They rub your feet when you need it. So it's the preference. So I don't think it's a blame game because I thought it was respect, honestly, the way they delivered it and put him in a good situation. I thought they handled it respectfully. It's just, you're not my type type of situation. And thankful Jared Goff, he went in a situation where he found somebody his type.
Yeah, I have to agree. The best quarterbacks to play so far, you could say it's Tua, you could say it's Trevor Lawrence, you could say Lamar Jackson, you could say Brock Purdy prior to the Week 6 debacle against that vaunted Browns defense. But I have to go to Jared Goff. He's the only quarterback I feel like has been playing consistently since Week 1. Even in a loss against the Seattle Seahawks, I thought he played a great game. Threw a late interception. You don't want that. But he has been taking care of the football for the past 2 seasons. I have Jared Goff as my number 1 quarterback going through 6 weeks. He's been awesome.
Well, see, smart guys think a lot, man. That's when I know that's when I know you really know football. You know, when you come with that, because the nearest Sayers, the one who just watch, I call him the box stats watcher. They don't really watch the game.
They just see the stat sheet. Yeah,
they just see the stats sheet. I'm like, bro, come on. And they were like, oh, man, it's Tua. Look what he's putting up. Oh, yeah, of course Tua's having a hell of a season. So is Josh Allen. But if you really, really examine and study the game, man, the nuances of the game, the little etiquettes of the game, man, Jared Goff right now is just killing it, bro. Killing it.
No, I do agree. And to your point, you got to be able to watch the film and then look at the stat sheet. They go together. It's the same thing as like putting salt and pepper on your steak, baby. You got to have, you can't have just one or the other. You got to have both. What we doing?
Facts.
But yeah, Guru, appreciate you sticking around for the first guest on the Football Corner podcast. I really do appreciate it. So for everybody who's going to be watching this episode and listening to this episode, you can follow my guy, Guru, at Guru's Films Room on all social media pages like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Go follow him. He does great work. I appreciate it. It helps me a lot about understanding the game of football. I love it.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for having me, man. And I'm telling y'all, go ahead and follow my guy right here, man. Like, I'm talking about, this dude knows his shit. That's why I got to keep up with my game. Every time I wake up, man, because you guys in the East Coast, I'm like, man, dog, I got to get on my shit right now. And I know we got to get out of here because we got to go watch another great quarterback. And I just put out a new film breakdown on Trevor
Lawrence. Yeah, definitely. I was happy to see that.
He's eating. He's eating, man.
Go watch the film breakdown. Yes. Go watch it. All right. Thank you for listening and watching the Football Corner podcast. Stay tuned and follow, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you for listening and watching.